Ahoy! This week, Hi-Rez delayed their patch notes by a day because a ton of big news were announced in another way. That's because the OTK Games Expo was live streamed on Twitch, and there a ton of trailers and other information was revealed for Smite specifically, as well as some crossovers and collaborations. So today we talk about things like RuneScape, Lancelot, new guard skins, a tournament, as well as the new Hi-Rez game. Let's begin with RuneScape. We can keep this one relatively short. There is simply an announcement that there will be some form of collaboration between Smite and RuneScape. All we know about it is that it will involve RuneScape as well as Old School RuneScape, and it's coming in November 2022. In traditional Hi-Rez fashion, we can probably expect some skins as well as some music that you can use, but we will have to wait for more information. I know that there is a massive RuneScape fanbase within the Smite community, so this crossover definitely makes sense, though I am wondering how exactly skins will fit with Smite's visual design of characters, but then again, that certain Chronos model exists. Another very important thing that was shown was the Lancelot trailer, so we actually know what he looks like now and what his general theme is. I'm just gonna let this one play.
The words I speak are the oath of a knight. I dedicate myself to lives beyond my own. They will embody humility and speak only truth. I vow to never be cruel, to forgive when asked, and pray that my mistakes be forgiven. I dedicate myself to courtesy and honor forevermore. This is the oath of a knight.
Now, if you're interested in more info on Lancelot specifically, you want to understand more about the trailer, learn more about his abilities, see some artwork and all that stuff, then I recommend checking out the video that I'll link at the top right here and also at the end of the video, which is a closer look at Lancelot. Something else that was announced at the OTK Games Expo were multiple new skins. The first one is for the musician One True God, and this is an Athena skin. Now, if you're not familiar with One True God, he makes electronic music. I would describe it as some dark-ish version of house. I'm sure somebody who has got more experience in that genre can tell you more exactly what it is. But even if, like me, prior to this you hadn't heard of One True God, you may still be interested in the skin because, in my opinion, it looks really, really good. It's kind of a modern-day raver theme, and ironically, for once, the model in-game actually looks better than the card art. But that's not the only skin. There's also another skin for Thanatos, or as Mizkif himself would call it, Thanados. And this skin, I will just let the audio roll for that section. And that's all you need to know.
I have my own skin.
Let's make some good memories.
That's so bad.
That was some good Smite.
There's no way that's it.
Hey, quit staring at my boxes.
So yeah, Thanatos. But this skin has a bit more behind it as well. Now, some of you may know that Mizkif has been a long time Smite fan. He actually streamed Smite very early in his career, so he's been very invested in that game. And because of that, I'm assuming OTK is actually working with Hi-Rez, and there's going to be an OTK Smite Invitational with a prize pool of $100,000. This will be happening on June 27th on Mizkif's Twitch channel, but don't get too excited if you're watching this video on my channel, because there's a good chance that you don't qualify. They're looking for streamers and content creators to participate in that event, but they specifically do not want experienced Smite players. So they want to have people that basically haven't touched the game or have barely touched the game so far. On one hand, this is of course unfortunate for creators within the community, but on the other hand, it of course makes sense from the perspective of reaching as many new potential players as possible, and if you put just a few experienced players in it, then it quickly gets unfair. I personally am very happy with this potential increased reach for Smite just around mid-season as well. And as you can see from the tweet here, it's already at 8,500 likes nearly. It's definitely getting a lot of traction. So yeah, hopefully this will bring as many new players as possible to the game. A very different thing that was announced is the crossover for Paladins and Ruby. It's essentially the same characters as from the Smite crossover with Ruby, but it doesn't look like it's the same character models. It looks like they've gotten their own redesigned models for Paladin specifically, so it's not just recycled content in that sense. I'm guessing the opportunity to just redo this collaboration with Hi-Rez's other game was simply very easy because they'd already worked together. Also, Rogue Company is coming out of early access. This means they are releasing a new Rogue, a new Battle Pass, in-game events and more, and apparently new maps are coming as well and whatnot, and along with that, a new trailer. I'm not going to play the full thing here, but I'm going to link it down in the description for those of you who are interested in Rogue Company. And then last but not least, we have the new game announcement. Now, we had a few hints towards it in the past, and I already made a video about those, but now we have the full reveal. Let's roll the trailer. But we get to see quite a fair bit more than just a trailer. We get a first developer look at the game with quite a fair bit of combat in it as well. So what we can see so far is that it is a third-person platform fighting game essentially. They're using a lot of fancy names for it in the trailer, but really that's what it comes down to. You're brawling with other players similar to Super Smash Bros. Or Brawlhalla for example, but instead you have this open area in which you can move around in third person, and you have your abilities. And apparently, combos are going to work a fair bit differently. You're not really going to chain attacks in the same way you do in other fighting games, but rather you're relying on using your attacks effectively and timing them right. But we'll see how that exactly plays out. So I guess it is Smite meets fighting game in more ways than just one, considering how the abilities are set up. We can also see that it uses a percentage damage system, so the more percentage damage the enemy has taken, the more likely they are probably to get knocked out if it's anything like Smash. All of the characters that we can currently see in the trailers are Smite guards, and they seem to have at least some similar abilities. We see, for example, Thor using a spin, Herc using a dash, and Arthur slashing at his enemies, so I'm guessing that if you've played Smite before, you will be somewhat familiar with at least some of their playstyles, which might get you an easy foot in the door. Divine Knockout is currently in alpha, and you can sign up for it now. I am in the alpha myself. It's currently under NDA, but unfortunately I haven't even had the chance to actually play the game because the current testing times don't really align with an Australian schedule anyways. So hopefully I get the chance to test it in the future, or you just test it for yourself, and at a later point I'll give you more of a verdict on how I feel about it. If you want to hear about that, please consider subscribing and clicking the bell so you get notified when it comes out. And also, again, if you haven't watched it yet, I made a video about Lancelot breaking down the closer look, so if you're interested in that, I will link that here at the end of the video as well, so you can check that out. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you for the next one soon, probably the patch notes tomorrow. Duke Sloth, out.